In today's video, how to build amazing glutes.
By myself.
That's not what the ladies want. Should we stand at an angle so that we look bigger? Everybody thinks I'm short because I'm in the videos with you now.
He's very tall for
5'11".
For a midget. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from Physique.com, and I got my man Steve Beaugrand from Physique.com here. And today we're going to do a Science with Steve special edition. I think this might be our first ever Science with Steve that isn't related to mass.
Yeah, well, one of them for sure, yeah.
One of the few. But we're going to do a review of a book that just came out. It's called The Glute Lab, and it's by Bret Contreras, who is without a doubt the world's foremost expert on glute development, I would believe,
Yes.
right? Now, Bret's kind of rise in popularity kind of like mirrored what was going on with the physique world.
Yeah.
When the female bikini division became a thing and glutes had become so prominent. But Bret's not always about the bikini glutes.
No.
Let's talk about the book. What'd you think?
The book is amazing. It literally has everything you could ever want. It goes over like the physiology, it goes over programming, it gives you example programmings, it goes over form work stuff, like exercise selection stuff. Anything. I think he even talks about like why we find glutes attractive.
Right.
So
Why Sir Mix-a-Lot made a song?
oh god, dude, that is a good song though. Like a textbook, and he even says, hey, if you want to know everything, read the whole book, it's definitely better. But if you're just kind of worried about getting a bigger butt and improving your glutes, read these parts specifically. So it kind of is catered toward not only the person who's trying to get more informed, more in-depth knowledge of the glutes, how they work, the physiology, programming, all that stuff, because literally you could take a lot of this stuff and extrapolate it into other body parts as well in terms of programming, periodization, and those kinds of things. But it also sets you up if you're a beginner so that you can understand the basics, do movements safely, and then work around a lot of other things. So it's so all-inclusive that like I was extremely impressed.
Yeah, so Steven got his master's degree in exercise science from the University of South Florida, and that's actually where we met. And so this book reminded me of some of the textbooks from school. Like, you could literally teach a course on exercise physiology along with glute development with this book based on what I saw. They even have program examples for, say you want to build glutes if you're an athlete, because Bret's initial goal was to work with athletes. He wanted to work with football players. You know, there is a correlation. If you look at football, guys with big butts are typically faster, bigger, and stronger. The glute muscles are a huge part of that reason. So I think, you know, when I talk to Bret about why he loves the glutes, that's why. So he actually has programming in there for people that are powerlifters, CrossFit athletes, bodybuilders, bikini competitors. There are specific adaptations to your training, and what I really love about this book is that it doesn't just approach things from a kind of like aesthetic perspective.
Right.
A lot of functional stuff in there, and so let's talk a little bit about the glute development and how we can make sure we're building good glutes.
It's going to be progressive overload. We want to be doing more over time. Bret does a really good job about also talking about, you know, when you miss a workout, like, do you need to hit every single planned rep and set, like all those other things too that like are real life aspects. And so like one of the hard things is like we say, oh, well, we have a plan, we have to stick to the plan.
Right.
Well, progressive overload is about total over time, and so there's a lot of different things that affect that. But he goes over progressive overload. He goes over muscle activation. What exercises activate the glute muscle more so via EMG, which Bret's done a ton of research on in his time. So literally any freaking question that you have about training in terms of the glutes is going to be covered here, and not so in depth to where you just get like foggy-eyed and lost, but he makes it very understandable and straightforward and easy. So he's really extrapolating out the most important parts of all those exercise physiology textbooks, those biomechanic textbooks, and all those other crazy things that I spent 2 years learning? And putting them into one book to make them a little bit more understandable and reasonable for anybody in the world to understand and to get a lot of positive value.
So, I mean, if you just look at the book here, it just feels like a book that you would throw in your backpack and go to school with.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I mean, there's so much information here, and I'll probably do a video of a leaf through just to get an idea just how valuable this book could be. Because a lot of times, and you probably get this question too, what would you read? How would you start to get where you're at? And this stuff hasn't always been so available. It seems like more and more it's getting available. But this is a great book to start with. An exercise physiology basics book would be another one to start with. But the glute muscle, at least when I was growing up, that was something that you ignored. No one had glute day. and I think Bret actually has kind of changed the entire landscape of fitness because he invented the barbell hip thrust. He got a lot of hate from that. A lot of hate for inventing an exercise that is short in range of motion, and it kind of isolates the glutes because typically glutes were built through big movements like the squats and the deadlifts.
Yeah.
But I got news for you. Not everybody can do those movements efficiently. And even in this book, it'll show you that sometimes the testing showed that some people don't fire their glutes a lot in those movements. That's a biomechanical difference. So this book is going to explain to you how your biomechanics might work better for certain exercises, and also how you can test those. And it's going to give you some of the better glute building exercises. Let's explain our top 3. So 3 best glute building exercises in your mind.
Oh God. Okay. Barbell hip thrust.
Barbell hip thrust.
Bulgarian split squats.
Yes.
And sumo deadlift are going to be my 3 favorites, my tops.
So we're talking about a sumo deadlift. You have your legs abducted, and you're going to have to use a lot of glutes to get the bar moving off the floor.
Absolutely, and a much more technical lift.
Yeah.
So one that you don't want to necessarily have to worry about the amount of weight that you put on the bar.
Right.
Which really should be any exercise, guys. Wagging the finger here to some of my clients.
That was more of a point. This is a wag.
Oh, okay. Point of the finger. But anyways, definitely something you're paying more attention to: activation, feeling the contraction correctly.
Well, and if you're doing a sumo deadlift properly, it feels very short, and if you're watching someone, it literally looks like they're just thrusting their hips forward.
Yes.
Again, thrusting the hip forwards, barbell hip thrust.
Yes.
Now, the single leg split squat, that is my favorite exercise because the barrier of entry to this exercise is very low. You can literally do it body weight, just by yourself at your house. And if you're new to training, it's not going to be easy to do a single leg split squat with body weight.
No.
However, you can very quickly learn the skill and overload it and translate it to the gym. And I see people using, 100-pound dumbbells to do single leg split squats, which is very impressive. But you don't need to start there. The glute muscles are going to fire. And so those are the 3 exercises that are obviously going to be highlighted in this book, but that we use in our programming with our clients. I've had the good fortune of being friends with Bret for many years now, and he's someone that I look up to. And so I'm just very excited that, he's put so much of his life and effort into this book. He actually has research in this book that's from just a few months ago. He was working with the publisher up to the minute of publication to make sure he got the most recent research in there. So I'm biased. Me and Bret are friends. However, this is not sponsored. He did not ask me to do this. I purchased this book on my own, and so I'm just very excited that he's put something out into the world like this. So go check it out.
Definitely check it out. And coming from somebody with a master's degree, this is good stuff, guys. Really, legitimately phenomenal content. So definitely recommend the book.
Hey, Dr. Campbell, if you're watching, maybe you could have a glute class at University of South Florida.
Make Nick teach it.
Bye, guys.